Good evening, Dr. Watson.
Oh, good evening, good evening. Please, sit down. Make yourself comfortable.
Thank you, Doctor. I always enjoy your stories, but after the hint you gave us last week, well, I can hardly wait.
Oh, you mean the...
I mean the French Chateau and the pistol-packing mama. When did the story begin, Doctor?
Well, in the spring of 1905. Holmes and I were in Paris when he received a telegram. I find I still have it filed away with my records of the case. Here, listen to this. If you are half as good a detective as they say you are, you should have no difficulty in earning an old lady's thanks. In return, all you have to do is to catch a ghost. And it's signed Mrs. Harrison Gibson, Chateau VERLON, near Lyon.
An intriguing telegram, Doctor. By the way, Mrs. Harrison Gibson wasn't your pistol-packing mama, was she?
Yes. It was probably the politest message she ever sent in her whole life.
And Holmes accepted the invitation, of course.
Yes. The case sounded interesting. The fee was unusually large, and VERLON was right in the heart of the wine-growing country. Holmes was something of a connoisseur of wines, you know, and he'd often express a desire to go through those particular vineyards. And so we found ourselves in VERLON about 24 hours after receiving this telegram. We spent most of the afternoon gazing out of the train window as the incomparable French countryside sped past us. Finally, just as dusk was merging into night, the wheezy, querulous train drew to a stop at our destination.
Wake up, old chap. We're there.
What? No need to shake me, Holmes. I wasn't asleep.
Oh, nonsense. You've been snoring for the last 10 minutes.
I'll get the bags down. Oh, they are down.
Mind a step. That's it.
You seem to be the only passengers getting off here.
And there goes our train.
What a gloomy little station. Not a soul in sight.
Gloomy it may be, but it has some claim to distinction. Don't you remember the Lyons train robbery a few months ago? The station of VERLON figured quite prominently in that case.
By Jove. Yes, I do. Something about a train wreck.
That's right. Well, here we are at the ticket office, Watson. And there's still no sign of a living soul. The ticket window isn't even open.
Anyone here?
Knock again, old fellow.
This place gives me the creeps.
Qui voulez-vous?
Vous parlez anglais?
Oui?
We want to go to the Chateau VERLON. Can we get a carriage?
No carriage. If there were, no one would drive you there. Strange things happened at the chateau. If you are clever men, you will not stay here. Wait for the next train and go back to where you came from.
Oh, now look here, my good man. I don't know what your game is, but you can't frighten us. Just tell us where we can get a carriage and stop talking nonsense.
You can get no carriage to drive you to the chateau.
The ghost seems to have made a great impression.
Do not try to go there. People that go there do not come back alive.
That man's mad, if you ask me. I can't say I'm very impressed with this Mrs. Gibson's hospitality. It seems to me that...
Oh, there's our hostess now, unless I'm much mistaken, driving that coach and pair. Seems to have changed places with her coachman.
Whoa, Nellie! Whoa, Bess! God darn it! Whoa, can't you?
Good Lord, Holmes. Do you think she can handle those horses?
I shouldn't worry about that. She's doing an expert job.
You must be Sherlock Holmes.
Yes, madam. And this is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson.
Well, jump in, boys. Gaston, go get their suitcases.
Very well, madame. Your bags, monsieur.
Settle yourself in the back there, boys. Sorry I wasn't here to meet you, but I was cooking a pot roast for dinner. Nothing like a good pot roast after some of these fancified French dishes. Hope you're hungry.
Yes, madam. I've quite an appetite.
Oh, let's quit this madam stuff right in the beginning. I come from Cheyenne, Wyoming, where they call me Two-Gun Gibson on account of I can shoot the skin off a rice pudding at 200 yards. Hop up there, Gaston. I guess I'll have to let you drive so that I can talk to these boys.
Oui, madame.
What handle do you boys use?
handle? I don't quite understand you, madam.
What's your moniker, your name?
Oh, his name is Holmes. Sherlock Holmes.
I know that. What's yours?
Watson. Dr. Watson.
Didn't they give you a first name?
First name?
Really, Watson, you're being very obtuse. His first name is John. John H. Watson.
Then I'll call you Johnny and Sherlock. Never could get along with this fancy Mr. and Madam stuff. What you waiting for, Gaston? For Pete's sake, get going. I've got a pot roast waiting.
Very good, madame.
Madam. Well, boys, you probably wonder what I brought you here for and why I plan to give you $5,000.
Your telegram was...
Forget the telegram. My daughter sent that because she figured the one I wrote hadn't any class. Here's the whole thing in a nutshell. When my better half died 3 years ago, he left me $2 million in cash and as much again on the hoof.
On the hoof?
Beeves, Johnny, beeves. But I've always had a yen to get the stink of cattle out of my nostrils. My daughter Susie, you'll meet her in a few minutes, had been educated in France and was crazy about the place. And so, a year ago we came here and I bought this hunk of old masonry they call Chateau VERLON with 3 times what it's worth, just to make my gal happy and to get away from the smell of them beeves. Gaston, if you can't go any faster, we'll get out and push. That's better. Now listen, boys, here's the trouble. This chateau of mine's haunted.
Haunted? Good Lord.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not frightened. There's nothing can scare me that a 6-shooter couldn't take care of. But I can't get any servants, except that old buzzard you see sitting up on the box there. He's been with the chateau since it was built, I guess.
You say that the chateau is haunted. What exactly is taking place that frightens the servants away?
Oh, nothing to get head up about. We've heard some funny sounding noises in the night, and there's a piece of furniture keeps moving around. My gal Susie's frightened to death. And now we've got her count, or VICOMTE, or whatever he calls himself, staying with us. The kids are engaged.
Really? Your daughter is engaged to a Vicomte?
You're darn tootin' she is. Anything wrong with that?
No. Certainly not.
He's got the blue blood and the handle and 10 cents to his name. Susie's got a nice figure, blue eyes, and a bankroll you could choke a horse with. That's a fair exchange. Ah, there you are. There's the Chateau VERLON now.
What a beautiful place! Perched on the edge of the hillside and looking right out over the valley below.
Magnificent architecture. Must be 15th or 16th century.
Yep. And when you try the plumbing, you'll believe it, Sherlock. And the whole house is built backwards. Hall's on the ground floor. You go downstairs to the parlor and down some more stairs to the bedrooms. Whoa, Nellie! Whoa, Bess! What are you trying to do, Gaston? Drive us right into the hallway? Now, skip out, boys, and I'll take you in to meet Susie and her boyfriend. I always call him Butch, and it makes him madder than 15 scalded wildcats. Open up the door there, Johnny. That's it, jump out. Gaston, you leave the bags in the hallway and then take the carriage to the stable.
Very good, madame.
Straight ahead, boys. Doors open.
Oh, after you, madam.
Quite a tone with the ladies, aren't you, Johnny?
Only natural.
Don't mumble, Johnny. I can't understand a word you say. Leave your coats and hats there. That's right. And now down these stairs. I'll just introduce you to the lovebirds and beat it. Gotta keep my eye on that pot roast. Susie! Butch! Where are you?
Here we are, Mother.
Come here, lovey. I want you to meet Sherlock Holmes and his friend Johnny Watson.
Well, how do you do?
Where's Butch? Oh, there you are. Come here, Butch.
Mother, don't. You know how it embarrasses him. Gentlemen, allow me to introduce my fiancé, Vicomte de VERLON.
Oh, how do you do?
Enchanté, messieurs. I'm so happy that Madame has brought you here.
He's got a smooth line, hasn't he, boys? Well, I must go and take a peek at that pot roast. Butch, you show the boys to their room.
You mustn't mind Mother, gentlemen. She's an awfully nice person when you get to know her.
May we? You say a bite is worse than a bark.
No, darling. It's the other way around. But never mind. Why not show the gentlemen to their rooms? I'll see you all at dinner. I must help Mother.
Amazing view from this room, Vicomte. Just look at the valley spreading out there below in the moonlight.
You think that is beautiful? Let me open the French windows. So. And now, step onto the terrace here.
Magnificent. That sheer drop below gives one the feeling of being suspended in space.
It's quite an architectural feat. Building the chateau on the side of a mountain.
Oui. And when you consider the castle was built here in 1734, it makes it even more remarkable. And now, messieurs, I will show you to your room.
I noticed, Vicomte, that your name is the same as that of the chateau.
I was just going to comment on that myself. I imagine it's not coincidence, sir.
Oh no, it is not a coincidence.
Here are the bags, monsieur.
I'll put them down, my good man. We'll carry them.
Merci, monsieur. I am not as strong as I was.
Poor Gaston is so old and decrepit, but he is the only servant who will stay. I hope you don't mind carrying your own bags, messieurs.
Of course we don't.
I would help you, but as you see here on my hand, I have a bad burn. I did it trying to cook my breakfast this morning.
Oh, that's a nasty burn, my boy. Better let me dress it for you. I am a doctor, you know.
It is nothing. This way, messieurs. Down these stairs. You mentioned just now that my name is the same as that of the chateau. Messieurs, this was my family's chateau. Mais non, Madame has been very good to me. When she bought it, she insisted that I stay here, but of course it is not the same. We Verlons have great pride in the chateau. Someday, maybe I make money and invite back again. Here's the room, messieurs. I hope you will be very comfortable.
I'm sure we shall. It's palatial.
It was palatial, but I'm afraid it's a little faded now, like the Verlons' fortunes.
Vicomte, what do you think of this story? That the chateau is haunted?
Oui, it is haunted. It has been so, how shall I say, sympathetic. But we Verlons do not mind. No one's been hurt. Guests have been frightened because they have not been, how shall I say, sympathetic. But, messieurs, I leave you now. I've talked too much. Dinner will be...
Boys, where are you?
Down here, madam.
The pot roast is ready. Come and get it.
Oh, that was certainly a most delicious dinner you cooked, Mrs. Gibson.
Give me a piece of Wyoming beef and I can really show you something.
Mrs. Gibson, before we retire for the night, there are one or two questions I'd like to ask you.
Sure. While the lovebirds are still out on the balcony, I might as well tell you exactly what's been going on here. Besides those rumblings and clankings late at night, there's been a peculiar smoky smell in this room, even when we've had no fire.
I say, you mentioned a piece of furniture being moved.
Yep. You see that armchair by the bookcase there? 3 times now I've come back here in the morning and found that chair moved from where it's been left the night before.
Couldn't the servant Gaston have moved it when he cleaned out the fireplace in the mornings?
Yeah, Johnny, but he didn't, because I'm always up first. That's a hangover from my Cheyenne days.
I see. When was the last occasion this happened?
3 nights ago. The next morning, I sent you that telegram. Here come the lovebirds now. How was the moon tonight, kids? Or maybe you weren't looking at it.
Mother, don't.
Rubbish. Don't be so touchy. Go along to bed now, Susie.
All right, Mother. I am rather tired.
I'll walk to your room with you, darling, so you won't be frightened.
Yes, Butch. And you'll come right back and lock up.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. They're planning to get married in 3 weeks, you know. Well, I think I'll hit the hay too. Good night, boys. See you in the morning.
What do you make of it, Holmes?
Very interesting case, old fellow. Very interesting. Come on.
But where are we going?
To bed.
I'm not tired.
Nor am I, old chap.
Oh, then why...
I merely suggest that we go downstairs to our bedroom and wait.
Wait. What for?
You remember the old Scotch saying? For ghoulies and beasties and long-legged ghosties and things that go bump in the night.
Holmes, it's nearly 1 o'clock. When are we going to turn in?
How can we catch a ghost if we don't wait up for him?
What's that paper you're reading?
An old newspaper I found in the chest of drawers. Oddly enough, it has a front-page story about the train robbery I mentioned earlier on. A special train carrying carloads of gold passed the station safely, but arrived at Lyons half an hour late, crashing into the buffers, with the crew in shot and the gold missing. Too bad that these reports more stress is laid on the platitudes of the magistrate than upon the details of the case.
What was that?
Come on, Watson! That came from the living room above us!
Great Scott! Listen to that! Look, Holmes, over there. There's someone moving.
Watson!
Great Scott, Holmes! The chandelier! If you hadn't pushed me out of the way, I dare say it would have killed me.
Yes, I fancy it was intended for both of us. Here, I'll strike a match.
I'll light the gas. Ah, that's better. Holmes! Look! Under that fallen chandelier.
The body of the station master. The one we met earlier this evening.
Killed by the chandelier falling on him. A death intended for us.
Oh, no. He was already dead, Watson. If you look closely, you'll observe there's a dagger through his chest. Do you notice anything else?
No. What?
Look, my friend. The armchair. By the bookcase. It's been moved again. Just as Mrs. Gibson told us.
And the room's empty. Yet I swear I saw a figure in the moonlight as we came in. Holmes, I don't believe in the supernatural. But...
Nonsense, old boy. Somewhere in this house there's a flesh and blood murderer. And it's our job to find him.
The case at the haunted chateau will continue in just a few moments. Hi, I'm Rob Curwain. I'm the artistic director of Playful Fox Productions' Society of Radio Theater. Before we continue, I've got some exciting news from Playful Fox Productions. After the fantastic success of the Rocky Horror Show, we are thrilled to announce that James and the Giant Peach is coming to life on stage at the Fergus Grand Theater from November 15th to the 17th. Tickets are on sale now, so don't miss out on this magical journey. And right after, be sure to join us at Brantford Sanderson Center for the Performing Arts for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the Broadway musical, running December 20th to 22nd. Tickets are already available, so grab yours to see this fantastical production. For those who love holiday classics, stay tuned as our Society of Radio Theater presents Miracle on 34th Street this December. It's going to be a very special production, and more details will be released soon. The audition form goes live on November 1st at noon. And be sure to mark your calendars. Audition information for the first 4 shows of PFP's 2025 season will be released on Monday, November 4th at 9 a.m. We can't say much, but expect stories of twisted mysteries, magical journeys, a few unexpected heroes, and a reimagined fairy tale. Be sure to stay tuned for all the thrilling details.
And now back to our Sherlock Holmes adventure. In answer to a telegram from Mrs. Gibson, Holmes and Dr. Watson have come to an old chateau in the south of France, a chateau reputed to be haunted. On the night of their arrival, a man has been murdered, and Holmes and his colleague have narrowly escaped death from a falling chandelier. As we rejoin our story, it is after dinner the next day, and bitter argument is going on amongst the family.
A fine thing. The local station master smeared all over my best carpet with a knife through him, and no one even knows how he got here. An expensive chandelier smashed to pieces. The cops here all day and they can't figure the thing out. Fancy detectives snooping around, and he's no smarter. I'll pay you $5 grand, Sherlock, because I'm a woman of my word, but I don't think you've earned it.
Madam, I shouldn't dream of accepting your fee without solving the case. And that I propose to do before the night is out.
You mean you've got an idea who's back of all this?
Madam, my day has not been an idle one.
Well, I can tell you my night's not gonna be an idle one, Sherlock. Personally, I'm gonna sit up with a 6-shooter in that armchair that moves itself around. This chateau's no more haunted than my Uncle Elmer, and I'm gonna prove it too.
Perhaps you should not have bought the chateau, madam. There has never been trouble here until you came. If you want to sell for not too big a price, I will raise the money to buy it back.
Sure you will, you slinky two-timer. You probably organized the whole thing so that you could get your chateau back for a song, trying to frighten me off my property. Well, I don't scare easy, see, and if you...
Madam, you have insulted me. If you were a man, my seconds would call on you in the morning. I shall leave Verlon by the next train.
Good riddance of bad rubbish.
Mother, you don't mean that. Say you're sorry.
You're darn tootin', I mean it. I never did like him anyway. I only put up with him because of you, Susie.
Well, I'm gonna marry him, whether you like it or not. And if he goes on the next train, I'm going with him.
God dang it. Now I've upset Susie. Sherlock, stop dragging your cigar ashes on my stylish carpet.
It's just what I was going to say. I've been watching you, Holmes. You've been knocking your cigar ash all over the place.
Thought you were asleep, Johnny. You haven't opened your trap for a quarter of an hour.
I do feel very sleepy, I must say.
Better wake up, old fellow. We have work to do.
You and me both, Sherlock. Though from what I've seen of you in action so far, I'll back my shooter against your brains. See you later.
Watson! Did you drink your coffee tonight?
Of course I did. Love coffee.
Oh, you fool, you blithering idiot! I told you not to!
Why are both of you dropping cigar ash?
Both of me? Why didn't you... Oh, God, why didn't you listen to me? Watson! Watson! Watson, drink this.
What is... Why are we in our bedroom?
Never mind that. Drink this.
All right.
Feel better?
Yes. What happened, Holmes?
The coffee at dinner was drugged, my friend. I told you not to drink it. I poured mine into a nearby vase. One sip told me the whole story.
Drugged? But why?
To keep us out of the way, of course.
Well, who did it?
That I'm not certain. But I have a very strong suspicion.
You know, Holmes, I think that VERLON boy's behind this.
Possibly.
I'm sure he is. He wants the chateau back, and he'll...
Come on, Watson. Up the stairs.
Good heavens! Young VERLON! With a sword through his heart!
Yes, Mrs. GIBSON. She's blue in the face. You better look at her, Watson.
She's been half strangled. Look at these finger marks on her throat.
Can we leave her safely for a few minutes?
Yes. Well, she's just in a faint. She'll be all right.
Good, because our murderer can't be far away.
I was convinced young VERLON was the murderer. There he is dead. Do you suppose Mrs. GIBSON stabbed him?
Oh, use your intelligence, old fellow. Look, she has a 6-shooter in her hand, so why would she use a sword? And what then? Do you suppose she tried to cover her tracks by partially strangling herself afterwards?
I suppose not. Well then why? What are you doing, Holmes?
You commented on my dropping cigar ash earlier on. There was a reason for it. Cigar ash foam's an excellent medium for recording footprints. Yes, these footprints lead to the bookcase here. Obviously, there is a secret door.
By Jove, Holmes, there's the answer to the moving armchair. Well, it usually stands directly in front of the bookcase.
Precisely, old boy. Anyone entering the secret door would have to move the chair to enter.
Yes, and once inside, he would be unable to move the chair back into position again.
You will observe the chair is out of position now. Therefore, we may assume the murderer is waiting for us somewhere behind this bookcase. Listen, you notice how the chateau is built on the side of a hill. 3 sides project into space. The only place there could be a secret room is on the closed side. And unless I'm much mistaken, this will be the entrance to it. The question is, Here we are. Behind this well-thumbed book, we find a button. We press it, Watson, and so... And open sesame. The bookcase swings open.
And discloses a tunnel.
Exactly. Come on, Watson.
Good Lord, Holmes. A great cave. Well, look at those gold bars and machinery there. It looks like the mint.
Precisely. And here's the answer to 2 stories. The haunted chateau and Leon's train robbery. Gaston, you have visitors.
Gaston?
Bonsoir, monsieur.
Gaston, will you tell the story or should I?
There is no story.
Very loyal of you, Gaston. But not true. Here are the facts. Watson, listen. Young VERLON staged the train robbery to pay off the mortgage on the chateau. I'm sure it wasn't hard to persuade Gaston here, loyal servant that he is. Persuaded to help him. But gold is not always easy to sell, so they installed the machinery that you see here to convert the gold bars into coins.
That would account for the strange noises and the burning smell that Mrs. Gibson mentioned.
And also the burn on VERLON's hand that prevented him from helping us carry our suitcase yesterday. Am I right, Gaston?
Oui, monsieur.
The station master that was murdered last night, he helped you with the train robbery, didn't he?
Oui, monsieur. He was my cousin.
And I suppose when he saw us arrive yesterday, he became, shall we say, frightened.
Oui. He recognized you, Mr. Holmes. Last night he came up here and demanded his share in the robbery, and my master killed him.
But who killed your master?
That's obvious, my friend. Gaston did.
Gaston? But why?
Why not tell him, Gaston?
It is simple. I loved my master, just as I loved his father before him.
But the honor of the VERLONs means more to you than anything else.
Oui, monsieur. When he killed my cousin, the station master, I kept his secret. Perhaps I could have kept quiet if he had killed you both last night.
You mean when he tried to when he cut the chandelier?
But tonight, when I caught him trying to strangle Madame GIBSON, I knew that the good blood of the VERLON was getting impoverished. He seemed to have no conscience about killing. He was a bad VERLON. And he would have disgraced the family name. And so, I killed him with his own sword. It is better so.
I understand your motives, Gaston. But you realize you'll have to pay for this, don't you? Probably with your life.
My life? What is that worth compared to the good name of the VERLON? I am an old man and I am ready to die. But no human judge will sentence me. Au revoir, monsieur.
Look out! He's trying to get away!
After him, Watson, come on!
Gaston, come away from that balcony!
There is only one judge, and his court is kinder than this world. I go to him, le bon Dieu!
Holmes! He's gone through the windows and over the balcony. Poor devil.
Yes, Watson. Poor devil. But I think le bon Dieu will understand. Gaston was a faithful servant to the end.
Well, Doctor, that was an interesting story. So the old chateau wasn't haunted after all?
No. But I don't mind admitting that I certainly was scared when we first opened that secret door into the cave.
I don't blame you. Although, you know, I wish I had a cave like that in my house.
Oh, now, wait a minute. You're not thinking of doing a little haunting, are you? Tonight's Sherlock Holmes adventure is written by Dennis Green and Bruce Taylor and is based on an incident in the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle story, A Case of Identity. The announcer was portrayed by Kristy Dolson, Vicomte de VERLON, played by Jeff Gordon, SUSIE Gibson, played by Jill Pye, Gaston, performed by Aaron Gorlick, Mrs. Gibson, brought to life by Jen Gregory-Gordon, the Station Master, played by Christopher Spicer, the Porter by Marissa Wilson, Dr. John H. Watson, played by R.C. Scott, and Sherlock Holmes, played by Darien Fox. I'm Rob Curwain, your director and editor.
Be sure to stay tuned to our social media pages to find out what comes next from Playful Fox Productions and the Society of Radio Theater.